Well, hey, welcome to the channel, guys. Welcome to my stream and welcome to yet another video working on Dominic's 1970 Dodge Charger from the movie Fast and Furious Part 1. So let me run the intro and we'll get started. We've got the car mostly assembled, except for the front end. Obviously, the car don't got no front end on it, but we are moving along, getting there. What I'm going to be doing today is kind of focusing on the front end a little bit, and in particular, customizing our front grille to have the headlights open, just like they have on Dom's Charger in the movie. You can tell by the picture up here that the model kit is made in such a way that the headlights are closed, and well, in the movie he never has them closed. Every clip you see of the car, they're open, and so I wanted to duplicate that. And like I said in the last one, what I did is I bought another model kit. I believe it was a Dodge Coronet, like 1969 or something like that, and it had the headlights in it, and so I bought that specifically just for the headlights, and that was it. And so I have them sitting here on my desk. I cut them out of the grill on that one, and I have glued them onto a couple of little pieces of styrene, just a little flat plastic styrene. I think I showed you guys those pieces last time, just hadn't glued them yet. So I glued them on there and I painted them. So I'll change the camera so you can see a little bit better what I'm doing here. Okay, so here's our little pieces. Here's our little headlights, glued on there and then painted black. Okay, our grill, what I've done is I've already done one side, and this is finished here. I took my Dremel, drilled through, did most of it, and then I just did the cleanup with a hobby knife to get my little rectangular here. As you can see, I've got the Dremel part on this side, so just had to be careful, and looks like I may have actually nicked it with the Dremel here when I punched through, ruining the chrome, but that's not a big deal. I can touch that up. So I need to get in there with my hobby knife and clean up this hole. Okay, so I'm going to do that, and yeah, we're going to do that right now. It's a little bit of tedious work. You got to be careful because you are carving with a knife on a part that you have to kind of hold really closely. And so if I get this off camera because I'm holding it close to my face, I apologize. I want to get carved in here, basically eliminating this little flat edge right along in there. So I just need to be careful. And of course, this edge here needs to be straight, and this edge needs to have a little bit of a curve to it. So it's just a matter of going along, being careful. Don't carve too heavily. Carve slivers of the plastic away and not chunks, and you'll do a lot better. And that's basically the trick. Okay, our flat edge is done, so now I want to keep shaving off little bit by little bit until I get to a point where that little edge of chrome is gone. Just like that. You might wonder, why are you putting your finger there? That's really dangerous. Well, I've actually got a big piece of plastic protecting my finger from my knife. So it's a little bit of an illusion. There we go. Okay. Now let's work on our other end here. I do have a big mess here that the Dremel left, so I'll just kind of clean this a little out of here. said, this is a little bit of tedious work, but if you're careful and you have patience, it does pay off in the end. It looks really good. You can do a pretty good job. If I did try this with the Dremel, basically, yeah, the Dremel makes the work in a fraction of the time. In the time it took me to drill this hole, it would have been done by now. But, and yeah, you can get in there and you can shave little bits with the Dremel, but you know, the Dremel is loud, and I didn't want to subject you guys to the Dremel. And you know, I want to show you guys, what if you don't have a Dremel? What if you don't have access to these electric tools? You know, well, there's other ways. There's an old school way, you know, before the invention of the Dremel. I don't even know, when was the Dremel invented? I was just going to say, oh yeah, in the 70s before the Dremel, but I don't know when the Dremel was invented. You want to be careful as you're carving this out, because you are basically reducing the amount of plastic and therefore reducing the strength. So you don't want to press too hard on it. You don't want to go like heavy-handed on it either, right? So this is the edge that's going to be seen the most, and so I want to get it cleaned up as the best as I can. And that's pretty much calling it done, except for this little corner needs a little tidy up. Okay, so that hole is opened up nicely now. Again, except for this little corner, I'm not happy with it. There we go. That's better. Okay, so our holes are opened up. Now the one thing I want to do, when you're looking down at this, say at this kind of angle, you can see the thickness of the plastic in behind there. Now I am going to paint it black, but I still want to give the illusion of that's where the metal ends, right? We're trying to give the illusion that this is metal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to carve this open wider, but I'm doing it on an angle like this. So if I hold it like this, show you guys, instead of carving it straight like this, okay, instead of straight like that, I'm carving it at an angle like this, right? Just to remove this extra excess at the back end, and then it will give the illusion that it's thin because I've cut it at an angle. I'm going to do that all the way around on all four sides. I'm not actually making the hole bigger, I'm just changing the angle at which it's cut open. That's all. It doesn't matter as much on the top, because your viewing angle, whenever you look at your kit, it's not going to be, you're not going to see the top. But I still want to do it a little bit. Okay, and then when you do this side is a little bit tricky, because you are actually removing your material that you're actually going to glue to, making it a little smaller, which is fine because we have a lot of surface to glue to anyway. Okay, so our holes are done. Holes are done. Just like that. Okay. Now I got a big mess here I got to clean up. Easy enough though. Okay. Now, putting in our lights, we grab these, and I'm just going to be putting them in like this. Right? They're just going to go like that. And that's it. And I noticed they're sitting a little too far forward. They should be sitting back a little further. They're actually sitting ahead of the grill here. And I want to sit them behind. Hi, how's it going, E-Place? So I want to have them sitting behind the grill. That's where they would sit in real life. So I want to add a couple of little blocks to each side here to make them sit a little further back. So to do that, I'm going to grab some more styrene, and I think I will, these are rods, I don't want rods. One of these little blocks should work out fine. Those are rods, I don't want rods. 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 I got lots of rods that I don't need. We'll use this guy here. Actually, I got one of these sitting over here. Right there. That's our 1.5 by 1.5 square strip. I like these evergreen ones because it shows you here the shape, right? It shows you the shape of each piece of what it is, right? I got tubes, I got rods, right? More rods. I got lots of rods. Apparently I like rods, even though they've sat here for many, many months not being used. I've got lots. So, I'll cut a few strips here. I am going to make them longer than I need. I'll just use this as a reference. I'll make them longer than I need. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay. So I get this stuff, and I'll glue these together. This actually might be enough. Maybe I should have checked the thickness on these. No, I'm going to want two on each one. And so I'll just glue them together like this. I don't need precision. I just need them together. Okay? There's one. I do want to make sure they're kind of straight, flat together. Okay? And we'll do that so that we got 4 pairs. There's 2. And one more. 4. Okay, so that's a little bit of a quick and dirty way to go. Clean up my excess glue. Alright, so those are done. So while these are drying, I'm just going to leave that over here and here. Okay. Leave those there for a minute and let that dry. Let's deal with our little trim piece here that goes on the underneath. We've got a pair of lights that need to go in here and here. About 10 minutes ago or 15 minutes ago, I did paint them the clear orange that they're supposed to be, and they should be dry. I find that Tamiya clear paints dry much slower than the regular ones. So I give it a little extra drying time than I normally would with Tamiya. There we go. While I'm at it, these other two lights are supposed to go in the rear. So I might as well get those installed too. Our two clear ones. These are the tail or the reverse lights on the car. And that's about it for this piece of styrene. So for that sprue, done. Okay, and that's that. So these guys go in right there. I said they go in right there. That goes right in. Just like that. Make sure it's angled in there right. That's good. Okay. And then we have this one. Flip that over. This one, the nub is not that clean on it, so I just want to shave that off a little bit there. This one does not really want to sit in its hole nice and flush like this guy did. Okay, those are in. Let's put that aside. Let's get these guys in their home. These guys sit much more recessed, and so a little easier to fit them in. There we go. Our lights are in. Just like that. Now I believe I can start dealing with, I think I can install this first before the grill. I'm just going to do a little test fit here. Put this on here. Now with everything else installed, now a challenge. How does this go in? You know, I've put this on the car many times, but not without everything, not with everything else on here. Okay, yeah, so this goes on first, and then our grill, like this. Yeah, kind of like that. Because if I have the grill on first, and then I put this on, it has to tuck in behind the grill, and it's a little bit tricky. So I'm going to put it on first. So I want to see some points of where does it come in contact. See, we've got this where it's kind of resting on the bottom of the frame and then causing a gap, but that's not something, I think I can get away with that. That should be okay. It is physically touching the frame under here. It's actually touching it. It's right up against it, which not a bad thing unless it's causing me to have to push too much on it, but it's not bad. So where it's really contacting the body, right here on this edge and this edge, I want to get rid of a little bit of paint on these edges just to help it out, help the glue out, you know. The glue is, I don't want to go right to this edge here. I want to focus on the inner edge on this. So, you know, I've got a lot of paint on here. So I want to help out the glue in actually creating a bond. Same with this edge. So the thicker the paint, the more the glue has to work to do its job. So scrape away a layer of paint, or if you can get right down to the plastic again. Sorry, I was doing that off camera. Help out your friend in doing his job. It's going to be a lot easier for everyone in the end. There we go. Okay, so that's that side. I do also want to do this edge here and this edge here on the front for the grill, because the grill is going to go in right there and glue in, right, just like that. And although I've taken away the chrome on this on the back side of this, because I'm going to paint it black, but on the edge where the grill is going to get glued in, the grill is going to contact basically right in this corner. Clean up my needle. I'm going to glue right on this corner here. So I've gotten rid of the chrome there and there, but how thick is the paint here and on the inside, right? So you want to think of that too. Help out that paint, or I mean help out that glue in getting your pieces to stick together for you. See, that's a lot of scraping just to get down to the plastic, right? So keep that in mind. There we go. So just a little bit there just to help it out. Just a little bit there just to help it out. Okay, I think we're ready to glue in our bottom piece now. Well, no, we're not, because I haven't scraped away any on this. And on this, I got a thick coat of paint on this one, right? I wanted this thing shiny, and I had to make sure it was shiny. So I got to put a lot of paint on this guy. There we go. A lot of scraping just to get down to the bare plastic. Just a little bit. That's all I want. Okay. Now I'm going to use my thin glue. Get this in place again. It's a new home. I think what I might do is glue it on one side and then get it into place on one side and then glue the other side. That might be the best course of action. Get them in place there. Check. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, now I need to let that sit. So while I'm letting that sit, I'm going to go back to the headlights. Okay. So, going back to our lights, now that this had a few minutes to cure, I'm going to glue this on here like that. Okay, and that's going to give us that depth when I glue in the lights. Okay, so what I'm going to do is cut this so that it's straight. Like this. So I've got a nice straight edge on it. Just like that. Not an angle, I don't want an angle, so I'm going to file that down. Okay, got a good straight angle there. And now we'll glue this on. I'm going to leave it too long, that's okay. Being too long is fine. Now you see I've gotten rid of some of the paint on that so that this will glue nice and easy. I'll just line it up like that. Right on the edge. Just like that. Just kind of get it kind of straight up and down. Good. Okay. Grab another one. Go. Okay, we'll do the same here, and I'm going to put it right at the edge of the black right here, and I'm going to do it with tweezers so that I can see properly. Right there. Just like that. Okay. Okay. So we have that. We'll put him over here. We'll get his friend out. And this one looks like I lined it up pretty close. All right. Just right on the edge. Like that. Okay. Trim this one. Just make sure I'm straight here, yeah. Okay. Okay, so again, gotta let that dry. Okay, so we can put our rear bumper on. And what I've done on the rear bumper is I've shaved off the edges where it's going to connect. I've shaved the chrome off, including the little 2 pins that locate the bumper on there. See those pins sticking out? Get that at the right angle. There we go. You can see the pin there and there. Okay. Those go into these 2 little holes. And it goes in just like that. I did have to open up the holes for the pins. I did have to open them up for the pins to really go in there, because there's a lot of paint on this. So yeah, to keep that in mind. So I just put the, and you see I shaved, I did get rid of some chrome here and here. That may have been a big mistake. I'm discovering that this bumper doesn't really stay flat against this very well. So I think I want to clamp it down. Until the glue sets. And I'll actually put some glue in there and there. The bumper doesn't want to conform to the same shape as the rear, what do you call that rear piece? I don't know. So we'll let that sit for a little while. So now let's see how this is holding out. In theory, this is glued now good nicely, and I can put this other side down and fit it into place without the other side popping up. So, squeeze this together into his shape. I have a feeling it's going to pop up and give me a little bit of grief because of how much pressure I need to put on this in order for it to stay in its spot. I think I'm going to wind up with a bunch of troubles here. I want to position my finger so that if the glue happens to run out of the seam, it doesn't go on my finger. And now that I have it like this, I'm going to run some like there. And I'm going to have to hold this now for a minute or 5.
Later.
It definitely helps stick my finger to the bottom. See? That's an ugly smudge that I'm never going to clean up. But it's on the underside, so it's okay. That's nasty. I don't know why CA glue does that. Why it looks for a place to go, and when it says, hey, I'm gonna run right there, and yeah, I'm gonna add some on this side just to add to the strength of it, so I'm not solely relying on the regular glue to hold that. Okay, I got an ugly little fingerprint right here. But you know what? The bottom of this isn't perfect anyway, so I've got a little hair in my paint job right there. But you know, when it's sitting like this, even sitting like in that angle, yeah, you're never going to see it. So, yeah, good enough. Now, I want to deal with my engine, because my engine is refusing to sit on its one mount. The one mount under here. It just will not stay connected. Or does it? It is. It's fine. It is connected. See, I'm having an issue with the alignment of the hood. The fan belt is hitting the hole in the hood, and every time I try and get the hood lined up onto its spot, the fan belt hits. So I can try, you know what I'm going to try? I'm going to try the same method on the hood as I did with my grill. This part of the hole right here, I'm going to shave this down like this to try and not actually interfere with my paint job, but possibly fix the issue with the fan belt. Because we do have a thickness to the plastic that we don't need. Again, illusion that it's actually metal. So maybe I can it's kind of like I'm widening the hole without actually widening the hole, because I'm just shaving this down on the underside. Making the plastic much thinner. So we'll see. Maybe that'll fix it. I'm hoping that fixes it. I'm going to say it almost did. Still, it's pushing that engine over. I'm not going to be able to get away with that. I'm either opening up that hole right at the edge, just that little bit. It really bugs me. Another thing I need to do, I think, is my little hood spring. I added this little spring there as a little bit of detail, right? What I did is I took some of this solder wire, really thin stuff, and I wrapped it around one of my drill bits, really tiny drill bit. I wrapped it around there and then cut it and then put some CA glue, and there it looks like a little spring. It looks like a hood spring. But it's just a hair, it's like one coil too high, I think. So I want to trim this down. See if I break it off by doing this or not. There, one coil gone. But I still have the problem with our fan belt just sitting a little too over to the side. So I'm not going to be able to avoid it. I'm going to have to trim this. Just that spot where the fan belt sits. It's just right here. If I can get away with only trimming like a millimeter, and not even a millimeter, half a millimeter, then I want to. If there's a possibility of getting away with that, I want to take it. The underneath of the hood doesn't really matter too much to me. Okay, I have opened it just a hair, just a little tiny hair. It's open there. And that little hair almost makes the hood fit nice. Oh, there we go. We're in. We are in, and we're good, and we're flush. Looks good. Okay, I'm happy with that. We're just going to leave that. Okay. Now, these guys should be cured enough that I can trim them off. Okay, so I'm just going to use my nippers here and trim them right at the base, like that. I do want to get them straight if I can. Try and get 90 degrees. Yep. Okay, that. Looks pretty good. Okay. Okay. And there. This side doesn't look like it's trimmed very well. I didn't cut this side very well. There we go. Alright, so that's that. Now let's do a test fit. Take this, and this goes like that. It's going to go right there. And that definitely makes our headlights further back and lined up a lot better in there. And, well, no, it's just for a little test fit here. We should have lots of room back here for the lights to fit in. In theory, anyway, they should be able to fit all the way back there. Right, in that socket. And yeah, there's lots of room there. Okay, for them to fit. So, I want to get my black paint out, and I want to paint the insides of these blocks before I glue them in, because it's going to be near impossible to get in there with a brush afterwards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish up, I'm going to get this grill installed, and we might call it a day. We're almost calling it done at this point. Like I said, it's going to be near impossible to get in there on the insides of these once they're glued on. So do that. There we go. Okay. Clean up my brush. We'll be getting back to painting in a minute or two here, but for now, set that aside. And I want to check something real quick here while I'm on the subject of checking things. Okay. All right. Back to our grill, and we're going to glue. We're going to glue them on there to have their new home. Okay. edge there and there. Check, make sure we want them in the middle. Just like that. Okay. Headlights in on one side. And we'll do the same with these. Right there. Check for straightness. Just like that. And we've got our lights in. So we'll give that a minute or two to cure, and we'll go back to our rear. This should be cured now, and as soon as I let go with that, this thing popped out, which tells me this is not fun. This is not fun at all. So let's clamp this back down, and I'm going to clamp this side back down there. I don't like how loose that is, but whatever. I'm going to use CA glue on that, because clearly regular glue ain't cutting it. Let's try and not CA glue our clamps down on it. The thing about CA glue is, yeah, it does a nice strong job, but it also doesn't actually melt the plastic like you would normally. So I can't really do much with that. I'm like, well, I can. I'm going to use my accelerator on it. We'll get this done. Actually, for a change, I'm actually going to spray it. I almost never spray the accelerator because it's a little difficult to control where it goes when you spray it. See? Although when you do spray it, it's a little bit less than when I put a big drop on it. Right? And of course the accelerator does do the job of I can let go and it's going to hold. So there is that. That's done. Okay. No need for clamps anymore. That's one beauty of CA glue. We have a license plate that's got to go in there. Okay. I am kind of getting ahead of myself here because I still haven't put the grill in the front. And that's the last piece there. But we'll flip over. We've got our trim pieces here. We've got our wiper blades, rear view mirror, gas cap, door handles. I'm going to put my tail lights into the back here. Okay, tail lights come in the kit. They're molded red in a really funky bag. Two nice red lensed tail lights. I think we're going to finish this kit today, guys. I think we're going to get it all finished. You know, usually my videos are an hour long, but I think if I spend the extra 10-15 minutes, we can actually finish it up and get her done. Okay. Taillight lenses just going to sit in like this. How are they going to sit? They're actually going to go in this side, I think. No, they show them going in from the back, but yet doesn't really. It is a tight fit to get that lens in there. But tight is not bad. Tight's not a bad thing. At first I didn't think I had them right, but just because it's such a tight fit to get that lens in the hole. In fact, this one doesn't really want to fit at all. Man, that's tight. It's so tight, I feel like it's actually stretching the plastic mold a little bit. Almost don't need glue. But what I'm actually going to use is I'm not going to use my quick tight. I'm going to use my regular thin. So you got two different types, right? I got the quick tight. They're both thin, but this is quick setting. This is regular set. This sets as fast as this one. Or should I say as slow as that one. And in doing so, it's a little bit stronger bond. And so I'm going to do that. Don't need that much on here. So just to give it a better strength. There's our back end anyway. Okay. So next is going to be our license plate for the rear. That's on our chrome tree. License plate right here. Now I've already gone to the length of scraping off chrome right there. Okay. And a little bit on the plate itself where it's going to mount right there so that we can get a good strong bond on that. Now, totally up to you. License plate does have a little bit of a frame around it. You can either leave it chrome or you could paint it black or whatever you felt like. I'm going to leave it because I feel like that little detail is so minor, you're not really going to see it anyway. So a little dab of glue right there where it's going to mount. Set that in there. Get that a little bit set in proper. There we go. You see those little edges? It's like it's right in there and it's right in there. It's such a minor little imperfection that you're never going to see it. I've got bigger imperfections on the model than that. So before we install that in the back, I want to let that cure a little bit. Before we install that, let's deal with our hood and our hood hinges. Should I bother with the hinges? A lot of times I don't. There are hood hinges here. Looks like there's big holes in here to actually put our hood hinges. Let me go back to my camera. Big hole here and a big hole here for the hood hinges to go in. What I found in the past when you're putting on hood hinges as your detail, that forces a certain alignment and is almost impossible to deal with, and I don't like that at all. So I'm not going to bother with the hinges. The hood's just going to sit on there and that's it. Okay, so next we need to paint the front of this grille and paint all of the back because it's not supposed to be white. It's not white on the real car. It's not going to be white on my model. So again with our black paint and our little brush, I'm going to start with the front of the grill. Start with the front here. Now there is a little chrome trim that goes all the way through the center here, like that. I don't see that on the box art, and I wanted to just do a quick little check on the car in the movie if that particular chrome piece is visible, and it does not look like it. It looks like that is actually, it's black. It's definitely black. So I don't have to worry about this chrome piece here. I'm just going to paint this whole part black. Okay, including the inside here. The nice thing about this is you can kind of go nice and heavy with the paint to get in all of our little cracks and crevices. Might have to do 2 coats to get full coverage over the chrome and get that black really black. But that's okay, 2 coats is fine. Make sure you do get into every little crack of the grill. And that's also why we do 2 coats. Because 1 coat you might think that you've got coverage, but then when it dries, you find out you don't. You've got little nooks and crannies that you've missed. So again, I want to do this edge. Okay. Okay. It might be easier to do the edge. No, it's not going to be easier. I've got to get in here. I should have painted this edge before I installed the lights. But I don't think it matters too much, just as long as I do get this edge. I got a good angle on this edge, I can't even see it. It's hard to see just even to paint it. Now another nice thing about chrome is if you happen to smudge it up and you get some black on the chrome that you don't want, like I did right there when I pulled my brush away, paint rubs off chrome pretty easy. In similar fashion to glue, it's easy to clean up your chrome. Okay, so let's clean up our trim here. This extra piece I don't really need, but if I paint it black, we're not going to see it. And that's what we're all about, is appearances. Also, this edge, not going to see it at all. It's going to be tucked in beside the fender, so doesn't matter. So why am I painting it? Well, because top of the lens here, do this. Right behind the grill, I want this painted. And we're going to tuck that down just like that. I want to paint the top, and I want to paint it nice and thick. That's not very thick. No, it's not. The reason why I want it thick is I want it to hide my brush strokes. Having it thick makes it dry a little slower, but that doesn't matter. Okay, now for the main part. Okay, that is it. Our grill is painted. Grill is painted. We got to let that sit and dry. Actually, let's take a check on our front. We're ready for a second coat on the front here, actually. Actually going to need a third to cover up this little section here that kind of wiped off a little bit. Okay, there we go. Okay, set that down, let that dry. And with that done, I'll clean up my brush, and I think we can put on our tail part. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. All right. Focusing on this, my coffee's cold. Okay, so let's put our back end in. It kind of tucks up in there a little bit. Sort of, kind of. I did have this put in place when I was painting this. There's a little bit of a lip. There's a little lip right along this top edge that goes into a tiny little channel right up in here. Okay? So I think what I want to do is actually this. I want to make sure that glue's in there. You can kind of feel it tuck in there, and then we got to get the bottom, convince the bottom to go in like that, just like that. Okay, and that's how it's going to go, but we need to get it ready for glue. Okay, so does my file fit in there? My file doesn't really fit in there, so I can't really address this, right? But I can get this edge, this edge, and let's help this out here. Okay, because I can't get in there, but I want to, actually I'm going to use my thin stuff. Use this thin along this channel here. This is not quick setting, so I should be able to get that in there. Throw this in there. If I do it quick, of course now that I've got glue on there, it wants to fight me. Always. Why does it always fight me when I get glue on something? Funny how it does that. As soon as I put glue on the part, it wants to fight. Almost every time. Okay. Kind of in. I don't like the fact I've got a gap here. You might be able to see that gap. If I get it in the right angle, you can see the gap there, the gap here. I don't like that. It's kind of a crappy move on their part to do that. It doesn't really want to hold. And the only way to really get it to hold would be CA glue, and I'm not concerned about doing CA glue there, especially with what happened at the front end. I might be able to convince it if I put some CA along this line and just hold it. Let's see. If I get my applicator, if I can get some CA glue in that channel there along here. Just press. Maybe it'll hold. Get my accelerator out. See, this section is not bad. It doesn't matter if I got CA on the bottom. Convince it to hold on that spot and that spot, maybe. Just maybe. it'll do its thing, minimize that gap. I got it to hold on this side. It's a really tight, really doesn't really want to hold it. There's not much you can do. So there is a gap there, and there's not much I can do about that. That seems to have held it. Nope, it just let go. See, even for CA glue, there are some things that are just too much. It won't hold it. It's good enough. It's a detail that I'm not really going to worry about. Okay. So it's an imperfection, I should say. It's an imperfection I'm not going to worry too much about. Okay, looks like our paint is... I put it on really thick, so it is still a little bit wet there on the back side, but I think it's enough that we could glue it on. Now we have our little charger emblem on the front here. I am going to see if I can Q-tip the paint off of it. Good enough. I didn't get the whole emblem. I'm just rubbing the paint on it. Because it's chrome, paint comes off easy, right? I can do the same in here where I fudged it up, but Q-tip's not quite strong enough, so I'm going to use tweezers and just kind of get in there and kind of scrape away. It's not even really scraping, it's just where I went a little too off the walls with the chrome or with the black. Sometimes fingernail works too. And I've got a little blip right there, and one up here too. This is where I touched with the black when I was brushing it. I need to touch that up with some chrome. That's where Molotow chrome comes into play. Touching up your little imperfections like that. Okay. That's where this guy comes into effect. Where I accidentally touched the top with the Dremel when I was initially drilling out the hole. So it's a bit of an imperfection, but that's okay. I would rather have an imperfection of the chrome than an imperfection of black or white. Especially when it comes to painting it. Okay. A little bit of cleaning on the brush again, because now I had chrome on it. I feel like the end is near, guys. This is going to be a bunch of trim after the grill is installed. Okay. Grill's going to go in just like this. Okay. It's not a perfect fit, but it's good enough. Okay. So I'm going to put some glue on the inside here and here, where our grill is going to be installed. Here and here. I don't want to put too much because I don't want it squeezing up the sides. Right, I don't want it squeezing out the sides there and there, so the glue actually helps hold it in. The glue actually acted like a little bit of a lubricant to help slide it in there. Now that's in, and that's our grill. Okay. That's beautiful. Now, hopefully the hood fits and lines up. It's looking good. Looking good. Yeah, that looks cool. Okay. Trim. We've got trim to do. Like I mentioned earlier. Windshield wipers, rear view mirror, gas cap, and door handles. All chrome pieces. Let's start with our windshield wipers. I've already painted the actual wiper part, painted it rubber black, and trimmed off or scraped off a little bit of the chrome on that edge right there where it's going to be mounting. So let's just trim that off. The numbers on them are both 28, which tells me it doesn't matter which one is the driver's side and which one's the passenger side wiper. It doesn't make any difference. So they're just going to go into this little hole right there and just mount just like that. Okay. You're going to go just like that. In that spot like that. Okay. Why my hand is so shaky, I don't know. And that's going to rest just like that. I want this one to rest kind of like, I don't want it resting off of the window, I want it like that. Just like that. If it'll just stay, hopefully it'll stay without glue. It doesn't really want to. Yeah, stay like that. Okay, wipers are on. Rearview mirror. Where are you? You're right here. Rearview mirror is right here. And our gas cap. There's this piece here, I'm not sure what this is supposed to be. This looks like a gas cap of some sort, but it's not for this kit. And same with this little grill thing. I'm not sure what that's for. That might be for a different kit, a different version of the Dodge Charger. I don't know. But these two pieces are not used. And then we have our door handles with door locks. We don't want to cut off the door lock, so be careful where you're trimming off the sprue. These are definitely going to be lefts and rights. Okay. So this tree is done. This sprue is finished now. Okay. So just trim this up a little bit before throwing it in the garbage. Okay. The rear view mirror has a little slot that it fits into right here. Okay. And there's a little edge right there, and that's where it's going to glue. Okay. I don't know if that's really going to fit into this slot very well or what. Turn the car facing me here. Move my things out of the way. It does seem to be quite the big piece here. Okay, so it's going to force me to put glue on the part and then line that part up. And I just lost it. I really hope I can find that piece and that it didn't fall into the nether regions. There we go. Let's try this again. Doesn't really want to fit into the little hole that they've designed for it. I did manage to get it though. Okay, minimal issues. Now this one here, this does go in a certain direction because our piece of this is not just a round hole. This is got I call it a D hole. It's got one side that's flat, and this hole has one side that's flat towards the back. Okay, and that should, in theory, just drop in like that. There we go. Okay. There's now that it's in there. The one part on this kit that just wants to go where it's supposed to and sit there. There we go. Our door handles now. It's kind of funny because we've got the door locks on the handles, but we've got door locks on the doors. Does that make sense? Not in the least. This is going to be our driver's side door handle. And it's going to go on. They have a little slot right there for it. But I need to clean up the nub on this. because that nub is not flush. We need a flush surface for it to actually mount on the door to sit flat. Alright, dab of glue there. Now this is the kind of part you want to get in its right spot and not have to move it around. Like that. You just want to put it there and leave it. And not really do anything with it, right? That handle does look a little big, but it's what we've got. And we either say there are no door handles, or, you know, there's a couple of car modelers on YouTube that they do such fantastic custom work, and they make their own parts that you'd think the car is real. Okay, I'm just checking to make sure I've got it flush on there on both sides. That's good. Alright, and that's our trim done. And with the trim done, the model's done. Close up all my glue bottles. Make sure it's all done. Get rid of that. Okay, guys, look at this. Look at that. Did you look at that? Put her hood on. Fits in there. Oh, stay on, Mr. Hood. Got Dom's charger finished. No, I'm not painting our signal lights or reflectors on the sides. I think that's a minor detail that is too hard to do realistically. And realistically, seeing that on the real car, you barely tell those are different colors, right? They don't light up. They're nothing. So, yeah. Anyway, there's our charger. Dom's charger with my hood that wants to fall off, but it's not bad. Just like that. Custom headlights, custom fuel lines on the supercharger. That's all custom in there. Even put my fuel line back on in the back there. And yeah, looks cool. Looks a lot better with those bigger tires on the back. that back end looks a lot sexier with big fat tires on it. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. I just broke my mirror off. I'll glue that back on before I take pictures. There we go. All finished up. There are big fat tires on it. Yeah. So, done. We're done. I'm just going to glue my mirror back on right now. Don't mind me. Silly me moving the model around. I go and bump the mirror. So we'll just try this again. There we go. Mirror's back on. So that's where we're going to leave it, guys. We're done. We're finally finished. Finally finished Dom's Charger. And so, with that finished and done, I will kind of clean up all my fingerprints on the body, and I'll take a bunch of pictures and I will upload it to my Instagram so you can see all that fun stuff that is on there. Looks pretty cool. I like it. Speaking of Instagram, to get that, you can go down in the description box below and you'll see some links, and you're going to see links to my Twitch and my Instagram, of course, where you can check me out on there. And on my Twitch, you can check me out on Twitch. You can watch me live when I'm doing this stuff and talk to me while I'm making all my little mistakes and breaking things off after I glue them. Yeah, so anyway, I want to thank you guys for watching. Thanks for coming out. Hit that like button, leave a comment down below if you like this stuff, or leave a comment even if you don't like this stuff. By all means, criticize me, do whatever. Let me know what you think. And hit subscribe if you haven't already. I know that over 80% of you guys who watch my channel have not subscribed. So do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, would you? And we're going to be doing an airplane next. That's going to be the next project. So yeah, going to go to this from the ground to the skies, right? And anyway, thanks guys for watching. Thanks for coming out. We'll see you all in the next one.